Good morning, Heaven Bound family, and all that are listening. This is Pastor Larry with a moment in the Word on this Tuesday, and it's the 2nd of February already, and hope that you are having a blessed day today. We looked at we got down through verse 18 in chapter 1. I had no idea that I would be spending 4 or 5 lessons just on this one chapter. But hopefully you'll have a good understanding of it when we get through. Let's look at verse 19 today. He said, "Write the things which thou hast seen, the things which are, and the things which shall be hereafter." This is a key verse in the book of Revelation. This is the outline for the book of Revelations. If you want to divide Revelations, then the first part is chapter 1. In chapter 1, verse 19, the only thing that John has seen at that point is Christ on the Isle of Patmos. And so when you read chapter 1, you have the first part of the book of Revelations. So notice he says, "Write the things which are, or write the things which thou hast seen." That was Jesus on the Isle of Patmos telling John what to write. Secondly, he says, "Write the things that are." What are the things that are? Well, if we could set the things that are aside just for a moment, and let's go to chapter 4. The third thing that he says that are to write is the things which shall be hereafter. Beginning in chapter 4, all the way down through chapter 22, deals with the things which are hereafter. So, chapter 1 is the first part. Chapter 4 through 22 is the third part. What does that leave? Well, that leaves the second part, the things which are. What are the things which are? Well, in chapter 2 and chapter 3, the two chapters that is sandwiched in between the things John had seen in chapter 1 and the things which shall be hereafter in chapter 4 through 22 is chapter 2 and 3, which deals with the church age. And here John is going to write, as we will see in chapter 2, he is going to write to 7 churches. He'll spend 2 chapters, chapter 2 and chapter 3, writing to 7 churches. And these 7 churches, as we've already said before, but I want it to become a part of your understanding. The 7 churches, the number 7 represents completeness, and these 7 churches have characteristics which will align itself with various periods of church history, reaching all the way up to the present day. And as we go through those 7 churches in chapter 2 and chapter 3, we will share with you what period of church history they represent, why we say they represent that period of time, and what it is that characterizes them with that particular age. So let's look at, when we get to chapter 2 and chapter 3, we will consider that. So the 3 parts of Revelations, John is to write chapter 1, the things that he has seen. Chapter 2 and 3, the things that are, the church age. Chapter 4 through 22, the things that shall be hereafter. And so if you keep that in mind, then you'll have a good understanding of the how the book of Revelations is broken down. Now then, look at verse there, 20. He said, "The mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks." Now remember, go back, and John, when he turned around, he saw 7 golden candlesticks, and Jesus is standing in the midst of those 7 candlesticks, and he's holding 7 stars in his right hand. Well, here he is going to explain who they are. We hit this just a glancing blow yesterday, or day before yesterday, I believe it was. But notice he says, the mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the angels. Now, this word angel, look it up in your Greek, is the same word as messenger. Since the pastor is the messenger of the church, and I'm repeating myself, I understand that, but since the messenger is the of the church is usually the pastor, some commentators will even insert pastor there. The 7 stars are the 7 pastors of these 7 churches. And then he says the 7 candlesticks, they are the 7 churches. And the important lesson herein is that we're fixing to cover the entire church age, reaching all the way from Pentecost all the way to the rapture. And he says over in Matthew chapter 18, where 2 or 3 are gathered together, there will I be in the midst of them. Anytime, a friend, a church comes together, even if there's only 2 or 3 there, Jesus promises to be in the midst of them. This is one reason why I try never to miss a church service. In 27 years of pastoring this church, I haven't missed a half a dozen services, except when I was out of town preaching a revival or going to a seminar. We had the privilege of going to Israel back in 99, I believe it was, the privilege of going to Canada for Billy Graham's sponsored pastoral school. But aside from that, as far as just week by week by week, we've not missed, I would say, a half a dozen services in 27 years. Why am I so committed to the services? Because Jesus promises to be there. And if Jesus is there, then I want to be there. Not only that, but it says he's standing in the midst of the churches. That is, if I'm not there, he sees my empty seat. Not only that, but let me say, when I am there, I want to be in a mood of worship. I want to be able to leave saying, I understand what we just did. The songs we just sung, the prayers we prayed, the message that was preached, whether I preach it or somebody else, I want to be observant. For if Jesus is standing in the midst of the church, every time 2 or 3 are gathered together, then I think it would behoove every child of God to be conscious of the fact that, number 1, we shouldn't miss. Number 2, we should pay attention. We should truly worship when we do attend. Okay, so that just about covers chapter 1. And we've got a few minutes, so let's just enter into, and I'm hesitant to do that as come to think of it, because in chapter 2 we're going to immediately begin reading the letters that John is to write to the 7 churches. And so what we will try to do is we will try to cover at least one church in each devotion, and possibly 1 or 2 or even more as time permits. But some of my devotions the last few days has been 14, 15 minutes long. I'd like to keep them down around 10 if I can. And we've been talking now for 9 minutes. And so let me just simply say, this is Pastor Lurie with a moment in the Word on this Tuesday, February the 2nd. I hope that you've enjoyed chapter 1. I hope that you have learned something from it that will help you to be all that God wants you to be. Go forth today, bless someone. It'll bless them. It'll bless you for blessing them. It'll bless God for the service you render. And God will bless you for the effort you put forth. Have a blessed and wonderful Tuesday.